A lot of questions about this. How much should I push my kids? Very simple. And we're talking about, let's say 8 years old to 18. Too many of us, when our kids get 16, they get the car keys, we're like, you're on your own. That's when you need to be more diligent and you need to push them and you need to stay on top of them. That's when there's distraction. That's when there's girlfriends and boyfriends and school gets more difficult and there's kind of a more social component. So I would definitely push harder as they got older. Now, obviously, if your kids really don't like wrestling, they just do it because the football coach makes them, then you're not watching this video anyway. I'm saying if you're spending money going to a couple of the big out-of-town national tournaments and your kids are speaking like they went to wrestle in college or, the more serious wrestler, as the youth, have them doing multiple sports, obviously, but if you can squeeze in one practice a week, it would be tremendous. So like in our academy, our practices are 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, roughly you're going to get over about 650 matches worth of live and over 50 hours of drill time just by coming to one practice a week year round. So it does make a difference. But for the most part, I guess when it comes down to pushing our kids, we just have to say this. Like we just had a mom call and she's like, well, they just don't want to do it in the off season. I'm like, okay, that's okay. Tell them good luck. We'll see them in the fall. Super excited that they joined us. Super hopeful that they come back. We shall see. But I say this, if I'm going to sit in the bleachers for 14 hours on a Saturday, and you high school moms and dads, it's a Tuesday night dual meet, Friday night tournament, all day Saturday. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary for you to spend 20 hours a week during season at tournaments. And it's like, if I'm going to sit in these bleachers for 14 hours straight, there's nothing wrong with me expecting you to practice 2 hours a week. No, the weight room is open at 7 a.m. to 8:30. You need to go. No, I bought you that Club Fitness gym membership. You better go. You need to be lifting 4 days a week. I want to see the plan. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see how much, some improvement here. See, so often people talk about the crazy sports parent, and some of you are so afraid to be the crazy sports parent that you're letting your kids not train, and then you're consoling them when they don't qualify for state again, and then you're saying you can do anything you put your mind to when they talk about, oh, I'm going to wrestle for Iowa State one day. And you should say, hey, you're not going to wrestle for Iowa State. You're just not. And your GPA, if your child had a 2.6 GPA, you would not be saying you're going to get a scholarship to go to Harvard. But in sports, we do that. We allow our kids to lie to themselves, and we smile and lie with them. Please quit doing that. You're better off saying, no, because I played soccer in high school. I was recreational at it. I worked very hard during season. But I didn't put in off-season time. I didn't go to camps. I never would have even thought about going to a camp. Now, we did the wrestling hardcore. It's tough to do everything hardcore. But I was a productive member of the team, and I was JV as a sophomore, so obviously not very good. Got pulled up to varsity a little bit and sat on the bench. I deserved to sit on that bench. I was kind of happy that I was on varsity and sitting on the bench, because my twin brother was still on JV. But I wasn't at home telling my parents that I'm going to be a professional soccer player, or that I was going to get a $100,000 scholarship to play soccer at, UCLA or whatever the good. So How much you push your kids should have a direct relationship to how much trash they're talking about what they're going to do in the sport of wrestling. Be realistic. But day in and day out, a good rule of thumb is this. If they're only wrestling in the off season, then you should still be able to expect some kind of effort. Let's say they're in a small town and they're doing 3 sports. That's fine. Can they at least lift weights 2 days a week? Yes. Coach has open mat Monday and Wednesday for an hour after school. They should go there. And then they have time for their baseball or whatever. And if they're in high school and then they have sports after, they're doing 3 sports. Okay, then, hey, guess what? On Sunday, you need to run the hills. Here's a camp. You should go to this camp. Oh, I don't want to go to the camp. It's 10 days. Well, guess what? I don't want to go to the tournament and spend $100 this weekend and watch you get your head pounded in again. Honey, I love you, but it's getting old. You've been wrestling 6.5 years, and you're not very good. Do you want to do this, baby? Huh? Then listen to Mama here. Let's think about this. I feel like that is the problem. It's not the crazy sports parent, right? You see some video on CNN or whatever. Okay, good. There's a few wackos out there. They're everywhere. But the real epidemic is the opposite. We're now so afraid. It's like cancel culture. We're afraid to mention our political views or who we like. We're afraid to mention that, oh, maybe you don't want men and women's sports. Maybe you do. Put it out there. But we're so afraid to voice our opinion. Well, the same thing goes to sports parenting too. We're so afraid to be that parent that we're just letting our kids not put in effort. And then we support them when we're like, okay, I think you can. I think Kill Sanderson was going to call you one day. He's not calling you, okay? So the level of commitment they expect from me as a parent is the same level I expect from them. And if they're just a recreational wrestler, which is good, I was a recreational soccer player, that's fine. Let them be, and then turn the video off. But if they want you to ramp up your efforts, my dad told me this. He's like, hey, this is no team effort. We're not lifting weights together. I'm an iron worker. I lift weights all freaking day. I ain't lifting weights. I'm not running with you. We're not going to stretch. We're not going to talk about wrestling. When I get home, those weights better already be lifted. And if you want me to work overtime and to build barbecue pits and trailers, which he did to sell, to pay for, the $2,000 it's going to cost to go to junior nationals. We have 2 miles of hills here. You should run those. You guys better be, that wrestling mat, it better be getting used every day. Because he goes, you run the ball, he said 50-yard line. And then I'll run it all the way home and I'll score the touchdown. But you got to run the ball to the middle. I'm meeting you in the middle of the field. I'm not running to the other end zone, and we're not going to carry the football together. I carried the football today, welding on a bridge deck with a welding jacket on. It's 110 degrees outside, and it's 150 up there. See, and that's good. I was like, he's right. Dude's right. One time, months later, he came down and goes, hey, guys, guess what? I went down in the basements, and the weights have dust on them. He just kind of looked at us, and he turned around, slammed the door, and walked out. I felt like a loser. That's good. So if your kids are expecting a lot from you, expect something from them. At least twice a week. Get on the wrestling mat, lift weights 3 days a week. The youth kids, if they can squeeze in one practice a week, that would be tremendous. Maybe during football they can't. Maybe during the first 10 weeks of football they can't. But they're probably not practicing football 5 days a week as a youth kid. They have 2 practices a week. One night a week do wrestling. That's 3 days a week to get 4 days a week off to be a kid during the summer. You know. So I think not letting these kids lie to themselves is probably the common theme that I'm trying to get across here. Because you would not do that. I always say this, push them like you would in school. Push them in sports like you would in school. Oh, I don't feel like going to school. So, jump in the car. Oh, I didn't sleep good last night. Not my problem. Should have turned that damn phone off and went to sleep. Not my problem. You'll figure it out. Oh, I got a big test and I got a bad grade. Oh well, you better study, right? Oh, I got beat out of the tournament again. Well, it's like my dad said, Keith Ketchum threw us around like a little rag doll. We actually beat him in college a couple times. He went to University of Iowa and then transferred to OU. Teched us at junior nationals. Teched me once, teched my brother twice. My dad's like, he threw you around like a rag doll. Once you get tired of getting tossed around like a rag doll and getting your face rubbed in the mat, you'll start picking up those weights. Point well taken. So, your kids will thank you if you follow some of this advice. Don't be afraid to be that crazy parent. You're not going to be. But don't be the opposite either. They've got to be in shape. They've got to be slimmed down. They've got to have mat time. They have to have heavy weights being picked up a couple days a week. They have to put some energy into this. If they want to have great results, they have to put in great effort. Not 8 hours a day, 8 hours a week, 4 hours of wrestling, 4 hours of lifting. And then they're going to be addicted to the process. And then your job as a parent can be done. Good luck.